So it looks like it opens the beginning of June opens for you, Capricorn, with having some difficulty with either standing up for yourself or seeing that you're in an advantageous position. Seven of Wands means it can mean directly struggle, and in some ways too, this can mean in the reverse position that your struggles are lightening, that your struggles are easing up. But I always call this card success despite adversity, because there's definitely an adverse situation going on here, but he's in the position of success. He's on top. He's like fighting people from above. So when this card is in the reverse position, it's saying that you may have a hard time recognizing that you are in an advantageous position. This card could either be that he is fighting off people who are below him, or that he's leading people on a charge, on a mission for something that he believes in. So when I see this card in the reverse, I say, either that you're having a hard time identifying with this guy who's in the advantageous position, but you're just having some sort of doubt or fear or not seeing the advantageous position you're in, or it can also mean that you are not standing up for yourself and you're not standing, he fights for what he believes in. And in the reverse position, it's saying maybe you're not standing up for yourself. Maybe you're not being assertive. Maybe you're not leading the charge. So in those cases, because there is that doubt or fear or non-recognition of where you're at, that can lead to beliefs of powerlessness. And Eight of Swords is a card that has to do with the mental element. Swords always represent ideas, thoughts, knowledge, or beliefs. And in this case, the Eight Swords are enclosing her. It's her beliefs that are keeping her powerless and victimized. She actually has the power to walk right out of those. She's not even fully enclosed by them, as you can see. It's her beliefs that are keeping her bound and blindfolded. She could actually cut her binds on the swords, take off the blindfold, and walk away. There's nobody there except her that's keeping her there. She's not actually captive by anyone other than herself. So what I'm going to say is that with Seven of Wands and Eight of Swords, both in reverse, this non-recognition, non-standing, non-willingness to stand up for yourself or acknowledge the advantageous position you're in can lead to feelings of powerlessness, feeling victimized. This is victim mentality, and feeling like there's no way out. So I think once you get through that, you actually have a lot of satisfaction available to you at the beginning of June. If you can break out of your victim mentality or the beliefs that you're trapped, there's Nine of Cups sitting there waiting for you, Capricorn. This card is all about satisfaction, wish fulfillment, having your heart filled, because cups represent the heart element. That they represent emotions and the heart and being filled, being satisfied, this guy is in the Rider-Waite. He's usually depicted as having just had a buffet, and that he's, kind of jolly and just, he can sometimes be smug, but it's just like he ate a big meal, and he's the guy with all the wine cabinet is what I think of, someone who's got the pleasure. This is a big card of pleasure. And it's their pleasures are stocked to the brim. So big card of satisfaction and wish fulfillment, but you have to make it through the first part of June, which is, maybe doubting yourself a little bit or believing in victim mentality, giving yourself over to powerlessness. It's not true. And then also, not only do you have satisfaction available to you, but you have a lot of options available to you. This is another wish fulfillment card, but this card says be careful that what you see is what you get, because Seven of Cups represents the heart, but this represents the desires of the heart. And oftentimes this card can be called infatuation or dissolution. You see this fog, all this haze and clouds in this card, and that means that when Seven of Cups shows up, it means that you can kind of be seeing things through rose-colored glasses. In other words, I think it was Sag that had this too, but it's saying be careful that you don't see things through rose-colored glasses when this card's in reverse. Be careful that you don't just go for the shiny object or give in to fantasy land. You have wish fulfillment here, but it's saying be careful you need to not let your fantasies, your desires, your infatuation, rose-colored glasses, or fantasy thinking influence your decision making. That is what is showing up in hand with your satisfaction here. Be careful that with all of your options that you don't that you really look to see what they are and make a good decision, because you will be satisfied by it. What I see in the middle of the month, Capricorn, for you is there's kind of like an ending to an old order. Ten of Swords always means belief systems, and this is an end of a cycle. So again, swords represent our ideas, our thoughts, our beliefs, and when Ten of Swords comes up, it's the end of a cycle, end of a way of thinking. You can see that this way of thinking, these thoughts, these ideas, these beliefs, are actually draining the life force out of the man. It's actually killing the person, and it's basically bringing them to a halt. There's no life ahead. There's no progress. There's no continuing forward with believing the same way. This card is often called bottoming out. So that in the middle position between a queen and a king here, this is actually emperor, but emperor and king are kind of similar. They're similar in that they both rule. They're both mastery of things, but emperor kind of transcends that. He's a major arcana card, and this guy is all about authority, rules, logic, boundaries, laws. He's usually the head of a military force, so he's really about my empire and how things are done. There may be a way, Capricorn, in which you are ending your beliefs in, he's looking off in the distance. He's kind of like, this is my empire, and I'm the emperor of this, and this is my word is law, he says. I'm the authority. I enforce rules. What I say goes. But it may be that you're no longer believing in that. There may be an old way. I can even see this as like a parental figure, like daddy always said, or, a boss thinks it needs to go a certain way, or a grandfather, or like some old male-dominated way of thinking, or even just authority. This could even be like your grandmother who said, you always have to do it this way. You always have to this and that. So it's really just an old order that I'm getting the sense your beliefs are being dropped away, or there's an end of a cycle of believing in all that stuff. And then that actually brings you to being a queen. Now, normally this is Queen of Rods, Queen of Fire. So usually that's a fire sign like Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. But I'm kind of seeing it here as you, Capricorn, as mastery of your motivation, mastery of optimism, mastery of action, all the things that rods represent, which is activity, fire, passion. It's all that Mars stuff. And then she's also come to a point of fruition of with this sunflower here. She's got a sunny disposition. She's carefree. She's got a good sense of humor. It's either representing you, Capricorn, as having arrived at your own radiance through discarding of your beliefs in this old, outdated system, or it could be literally a fire sign person who's coming into your life either as a friend, as a family member, as like a love partner, as a business partner, or some sort of, mentor, some sort of relation to you that is helpful to you. So if you have any fire sign people coming into your life in the middle of June, they're going to be beneficial for you, especially if they're in an authority position because they're showing up as queen. And then Seven of Swords here represents someone who is always considering their own perspective at any cost. So this is very me behavior. This is someone who's willing to cut corners to make sure that they get theirs. And so this is sort of like thief energy. It's sort of like someone who is taking theirs at the expense of anyone else. So here in the middle of the month, Capricorn, you may get some insights about who is doing this or any activity that's happening like this. The Queen of Wands is going to set that straight. She is going to give you good advice, good insight about any of this that's going on. Or if for any reason this might represent you, she's going to call you out on it. So she's going to be a helpful force for you in the middle of the month. And that could very well just be you, Capricorn. And then Towards the end of the month, I see a focus on coins energy. This is 8 of coins and 7 of coins. What's common in these two cards is that they are both producers. Sorry, that's my camera falling a little bit there. Let's see, I think it'll be fine there. These are both producers of money, of works, of coins, of, you know, they're both in production. This guy's an artisan. You know, you can see he's got his hammer and his nail, and he's grinding out products. Sometimes this is called the artisan who puts their stuff up on the wall to be seen, and they sell it, and that's how they make their money. But he's a worker bee. He just like works away, and he's the kind of guy who loves his work. He like whistles while he works. And 8 of coins means a lot of money. So it means like you're creating stuff through your work. You're bringing an income to yourself. 7 of coins is the farmer card. He's also about production, but he does things long term. He plants things and then he harvests from it, and then he's able to replant that. So when this is in the reverse position, it's saying that 7 of coins is often a card of patience, of reassessment, reevaluation. And so when he's in the reverse position, it's saying you may not be being patient enough to see the rewards of your efforts. That's what these two cards together are telling me. This one's saying you're working away, you're working away, you're working away, you know, and there's money coming from that. But you may have to wait a little bit longer to really reap the benefits, to really reap your harvests of what the efforts have created. It may be saying that it's not quite time yet to harvest all this money. Like maybe it's saying you need to keep plugging away at making money, but it still needs to like ripen in a bank account, or you might need to. This is actually saying to me that you might need to put it away for a savings and employ some patience towards this money that you're creating. And maybe it's not time to harvest it yet. It's not time to spend it yet. And then towards the end of the month, this card in reverse can mean that you're believing in things that are not true. You're believing in things that are false. I'm seeing with these two in reverse, there is a lack of your own vitality here. Both these cards talk about fire and talk about radiance and passion. This is the Sun card. This is where everything is full of vitality, full of fire, everything shines. And then this is a card where everything's in the dark. You can see there's a light behind it that's the truth. But it's seeming to me at the end of the month that you're almost giving in to things that aren't true, or you're believing in things that aren't true, and it's dulling your radiance. It's dulling who you shine forth as yourself. This is self-integration. The sense I get too is that it's specifically related to money. The sense I get is that you're working away, and yet you're having to wait to harvest that money. And there's like doubts that are creeping in that are saying you're never going to have enough. You're never, and it's kind of depressing you. When sun is shining, that's when you feel light and vital and radiant. When this is in the reverse position, it's still a positive card. It's still the sun is out, but it's almost like it's being held under the influence of this one, which is saying, you know, give up, don't believe in yourself. It's giving in to falsehoods. So I'm going to encourage you to stay with it, Capricorn. At the end of the month, you are churning out work. Even though you may have to save for a rainy day, even though now may not be the time for harvest, don't give in to those beliefs of, I'm never going to have enough, because you have some real promise here if you can stick it out. And if you can, once you see this for what it is, and you see that it's just false, then this turns around too, and you say, oh my God, yeah, this is who I am. I'm radiant, I'm free, I'm joyful, everything is good. So that's my advice to you for June, Capricorn. If you enjoyed the reading, please feel free to give it a thumbs up or share. And as always, I just want to thank everyone for watching. Yours in the stars.